Hey, Father Bill, friend of Dr. Bob's here in Austin. Welcome back. Today I want to finish up our series on step one. In previous videos, we've talked about what it means to be powerless. We talked about what it means to be unmanageable. And today I want to talk about a word that isn't actually present in step one, and yet I think it is the summation, the key point that has to be understood for step one to be realized. The word appears many, many times in the big book, and the word is hopeless. Here are just a few that I've taken from the book. We of Alcoholics Anonymous are more than 100 men and women who have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. The remorse, horror, and hopelessness of the next morning are unforgettable. We have recovered from a hopeless condition of mind and body. He begged the doctor to tell the whole truth, and he got it. In the doctor's judgment, he was utterly hopeless. Challenge you to go through the first few chapters of the big book and see just how many times that word is used, and yet it doesn't really appear anywhere in step one. Wilson said that he got steps 2 through 11 from Sam Shoemaker, Episcopal priest, but step 1 is a little vague at where he got that from. I think you make the case that he got it in part from Silkworth, but in part he also talked about getting some of it from William James, a Harvard professor who wrote a book called The Varieties of Religious Experiences. And after Wilson had his own spiritual awakening in Towns Hospital, 4th time he was there in detox, after he had that, somebody brought him this book, and he read it from cover to cover, got through it in one night, and he said that night William James became a founder of Alcoholics Anonymous. So James really impacted him, and I think the impact comes in step 1. How did he do it? Well, what Varieties of Religious Experiences is all about, it's a collection of case studies of individuals who have had spiritual experiences, dramatic changes as a result of something happening in their life. James said it always came as ego deflation at depth. The ego that had been driving them could no longer do it. It could no longer help them. They needed to turn to something else. Here's what Wilson summarized some of those readings that he did that night. He said, these gifts of grace, whether they came in a rush or very gradually, were all found on a basis of hopelessness. The recipients were people who in some controlling area of life found themselves in a situation that could not be gotten over, around, or under. Their defeat had been absolute, and so was mine. You won't find, as I say, the word hopeless in step 1, unless perhaps it is in those 3 little dots that connect powerlessness to unmanageability. Because if we link those 2 together, what we are really describing is nothing short of a hopeless situation. And the great paradox is that once the impact of experiencing this hopelessness is felt inside, it's only then that hope becomes apparent, not in myself, but in my reaching out to God. Oh God, if there is a God, help me. Why? Because I can't do this thing. You know, I'm hopeless. So I've always, when I've done talks on step 1, I've always wanted to kind of end it and say to the clients or patients, whoever's there listening, you're all hopeless. Now go have a nice day. I've never done it, but always wanted to. Why? Because I think this is the experience that step 1 has to bring to us, and if it doesn't, there really isn't much hope. So I hope this is helpful for you. And again, at the end of the video, there's a link with some questions and things, a further description of this process, and give it a shot if you can. Thanks for listening. God bless. Keep coming back. Bye-bye.